Thank you. Last class, we discussed about the melting furnaces used for ferrous and non-ferrous metals, and the classification of furnaces depending upon of fuel used and the type of metal used and other factors, the quality and quantity of the metal required for making of the casting, depending upon depending upon the furnaces are classified. The next step is the different types of furnaces used. The first one is the gas-fired pit furnace. See, the gas-fired pit furnace, we discussed this in the last class. So, this is the crucible. Crucible is nothing but a container. So, from this, you can melt the metal. See, here the gas is circulated around the crucible. When you lit the gas, then the flame will surround the crucible and melt the metal. So these things we discussed yesterday. Now you come to the point. Many question paper you have this question. Now you write down resistance furnace. Resistance furnace. Write down the diagram, rough diagram. Resistance furnace. Write down the rough diagram of resistance furnace. And I told you to all of you to keep think size notebook and pen along with you. Correct. Let it a box like it. All of you write down the resistance furnace, the rough diagram of resistance furnace. Bracelet W.
ಹಲೋ
ಹಲೋ, ಹೇಳಮ್ಮ.
ಸರ್, ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್.
ಹೌದಾ?
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ, ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲಿ.
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್.
ಹಲೋ
ಹಲೋ.
ಸರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಸರಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಜೈನ್ ಕೇಳು. ಹಲೋ ಪ್ರದೀಪ್,
ಹಾ ಸರ್, ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಹೇಳಿದ್ಯಾ? Now all of you write down the rough diagram of resistance furnace. This is commonly widely used furnace in all the industries. In all the industries for melting of non-ferrous as well as ferrous metals. One thing, say, if it is non-ferrous, usually the castings are produced from aluminum alloy or copper alloy used in automobiles, maybe in two-wheeler or four-wheeler or trucks. Usually, in order to reduce the weight of the casting, they produce the casting from non-ferrous metal, usually aluminum alloy. See, the casting size is less. The number of castings are more. So in that case, what they will do, they use a resistance furnace, which are available in the range of 1 kg to in 5 ton, 10 ton like that. The range is very, very wide for that reason. And the operation is also very, very simple. We will discuss the parts of the resistance furnace one by one. Say, this is the cast iron table, looks like a platform. On that you have the block. Usually this block is made from cast iron. On that they place the crucible. Crucible means it looks like a container or a mug. All of you use the mug. The same type, same shape of crucible made from the non-metal. Usually this crucible is made from non-metal. Usually the carbon. Usually the carbon is used for making of crucible. All of you seen in goldsmith shop for making of gold and silver, they use the bucket shaped crucible, small crucible. The same type of crucible made from carbon used in foundries for melting of metal. The size of the crucible are available right from 100 grams to 100 kgs, or right from 100 kgs to 1 ton. So like that, the different sizes are available. On that, there will be a shell. All of you observe here. This is the shell. This is the shell. And inside the shell, there will be refractory brick lining. Refractory brick lining. Inside the brick lining, all of you observe here. This is the refractory brick lining. Usually this brick lining in the circular shape. Inside that, remember all of you, there will be a resistance coil. Inside that, there will be a resistance coil which is made from copper. Resistance coil made from, this is also circular one, which is placed inside the brick lining, refractory brick lining. On that, there will be a steel shell, and the brick lining, steel shell, and the coil is covered by the lid. This lid usually made from steel, low carbon steel or medium carbon steel, and there will be a hole that's called vent. Once the electric current is switched on, usually the three-phase current is used for resistance furnace. Do you know what is the voltage, current, and frequency of current supplied by the MESCOM to our houses? That is 230 volts, 5 amps current, and frequency is 50 hertz. And voltage ranges from 230 to 250 volts, and current 5 amps, and frequency 50 hertz. This is for our house. If you consume the power less than 3 kilowatt. If it is more than 3 kilowatt, then you have to go for three-phase current. In three-phase, there will be three wires are there, three cables are there. One is 230, other one is 230, and the other one is neutral. Other one is neutral. From that, they provide you 440 volts, 15 amps current, and the frequency 50 hertz only. So all the industries, they use the three-phase current. In that, they provide 440 volts, 15 amps current, and frequency 50 hertz. The same power used for resistance furnace for melting of metal. Once, if you switch it on the power supply, the current starts to flow in the coil due to the due to the equation or principle of the heat development. Q equal to I square into RT. The I square into RT. This is nothing but I is the current supplied, R is the resistance of the coil, T in time in seconds. Q is the heat developed in the coil, that is in joules. That is in joules. So this is very, very important. Usually we use the principle of current, that is nothing but from that current we develop the electric power. The principle of Q equal to I square RT. That is I is the current, R is the resistance, and T is the time in seconds. The Q is the heat developed in the circuit. Now you write down the rough diagram of resistance furnace. Resistance furnace. Once again, the principle of operation. So what are the parts available in resistance furnace? This is the pedestal or platform. On that you have the cast iron block, and on which they place the crucible. The crucible is covered by the resistance coil. On the coil you have a refractory brick lining. Brick lining is covered by steel shell outside, and the complete three layers are covered by the lid, which is made from mild steel or low carbon steel, and there will be a hole in the vent, that is sand, that is used for releasing of hot gases after melting the metal inside the crucible. Due to the current, the induction heating takes place, and the crucible, the metal present in the crucible, usually ingots and other metals are present in the crucible. Due to the heat provided by the coil induction heating, the metal is melted and forms the liquid metal. The metal changes from solid state to liquid state, and after reaching the pouring temperature, if it is a non-ferrous metal, the pouring temperature may be 600 to 900 degrees centigrade. If it is cast iron, the pouring temperature may be 1350 to 1400 degrees centigrade. If it is alloy steel, the temperature ranges from 2500 to 3000 degrees centigrade. And particularly, this type of small resistance furnace used for melting of non-ferrous metals, melting of copper alloy, melting of aluminum alloy, melting of other metals, usually non-ferrous metals are used for melting in using resistance furnace. Next, come to the point. Coreless induction furnace. Coreless induction furnace. Write down the rough diagram of coreless induction furnace. Before that, write down before that write down, explain briefly with neat sketch. Principle of operation of resistance furnace. Put a question mark. Put a question mark. Least applications. All of you write down the coreless induction furnace. Write down the rough diagram of coreless induction furnace, and all of you observe and listen. See, this is looks like a container, trapezoidal container. In that there will be a primary coil. You can call it as a primary circuit, on which there will be a steel shell. Between the crucible and the steel shell, there will be a refractory packing. You can say refractory packing. It's not a refractory lining, it is a refractory packing. Refractory material available in the powder form that is placed in between the crucible and the coil. See, all of you observe here. This crucible is covered with the coil. This coil acts as a primary coil, and the metal inside the crucible acts as secondary coil. The coreless induction furnace works on principle of transformer. Remember, all of you, this is a very important. The coreless induction furnace works on the principle of transformer. The eddy current developed in the induction furnace. This is a very simple operation, and the cost of production of molten metal is also very less. For that reason, almost all the industries where they melt non-ferrous metal and small amount of cast iron, they use coreless induction furnace. Because the cost of producing metal, liquid metal, is less, and also the process is simple, and the cost of electric current is also less. For that reason, the cost of producing liquid metal using coreless induction furnace is less. Now, the parts of the coreless induction furnace one by one. First, starting from the crucible. The crucible is covered by the resistance coil made from copper. This works as the primary coil, and the metal and the thin metal and the metal present in the crucible works as the secondary coil, and this is covered by the crucible is covered by the primary coil, and this primary coil and the crucible is covered by the steel shell. The in between the steel shell and the crucible and the coil is covered by the refractory packing, refractory powder, covered by refractory powder, and this is covered by insulating material. Usually the glass wool, all of you see the glass wool used in solar water heater in order to cover the copper coil inside the tank in order to avoid the heat transfer of hot water present in the copper coil. Refractory packing on which there will be insulating material, and all of you observe here, this is bottom refractory made from bricks. Refractory bricks are available. From that they make the platform, and the complete unit is hinged at one point. All of you observe here, hinged at one point. Then when the molten metal is ready for pouring above the melting point, usually non-ferrous metal 600 to 900 degrees centigrade, the entire complete hinge is turned 180 degrees. All of you observe here, 180 degrees. This is the lip of the furnace from this. Hello, unmute yourself. The liquid metal is poured into the ladle from the lip surface. Hello, hello, unmute yourself. Lip of the furnace to the ladle, and after filling the ladle, they carry the ladle to the molding section. There they pour the liquid metal into the mold cavity. Mold cavity. Hello, somebody is speaking. Please unmute. Okay. Say first the principle of operation of a coreless induction furnace. Once if you start to supply the low ampere current into the coreless induction furnace, which starts to produce the current and which starts to produce the heat, and the crucible and the primary coil turns to red hot color. That melts the metal present in the crucible. Then slowly increase the supply of electric current to the crucible. Then after supplying of electrical current and eddy current principle takes place and melts the metal, and the metal turns to yellowish orange color of if it is a cast iron. If the metal of aluminum turns to silver color, if the copper turns to orange red color, then the operator thinks that the metal is ready for pouring, and the entire furnace is turned down 180 degrees, and the metal is taken out through the lip of the furnace and filled in the ladle. And the ladle is, after filling the ladle, they take the ladle to the molding section. They pour the liquid metal into the mold cavity. This is the principle of operation of coreless furnace. Coreless furnace.